In today's episode of Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we talk probably more than we should about the codpiece.
We celebrate end punctuation for song titles.
Bill and I come to terms with how uncool we are with popular vernacular.
You're listening to our take on Cameo's Word Up! It's not often that we get end punctuation in pop songs.
Yeah.
But when you put in end punctuation, you better know what you're doing. And of all the songs that have end punctuation, today's is the one that uses it best.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I can't think of a song that has punctuation in it, but it does remind me of a song, I think it came out in the early 90s. Yeah, from 92. Called I Love You, Period by Dan Baird.
Right?
Do you remember that song?
I think so.
The chorus goes, I love you, period. Do you love me, question mark. Please, please, exclamation point. I want to hold you in parentheses.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
The 90s were such a good time.
Yeah, they were. But you know what was better? The 80s. And I'll tell you why. Because this song was out. And if you're going to end a song with a punctuation mark, the best way to draw that punctuation mark is with that giant red codpiece that the lead singer of Cameo was wearing. Word up.
Word up. Everybody say, when you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the code word. No matter where you say it, you'll know that you'll be heard now.
Well, Frank, you kind of threw off my opener. I was all set, and then you talked about that punctuation song, and then I thought I should have opened with the cod piece instead.
Yeah, well, that cod piece is something that needs to be discussed.
Right.
That's for sure.
And I also had this whole joke that I was going to make you wear a cod piece for the whole podcast.
Your visual jokes don't play well on the podcast because it's just you looking at me wearing a cod piece at that point. I think the joke's on you there.
Yeah, that is true. All right, Frank, we got some work to do because Cameo was kind of this, and I only in my world here, I thought it was kind of like this joke band with one song.
Yeah, I think we lived in the same world because that's how I understood Cameo as well. Word Up comes out, 86. You're thinking one-hit wonder. They're not really doing a whole lot. It'd be something like a Thomas Dolby, like She Blinded Me with Science.
Right.
That kind of thing. Although I think Thomas Dolby actually had a pretty good career as well.
Oh, yeah. And this song, I didn't really hear it when I was a kid because I feel I was too young to really hear it. I heard it more in the 90s and or the early 2000s, and I'd watch the video like, well, this is silly. Where'd this come from? This is like somebody's watching me or something like that.
Yeah.
But I was wrong.
Yeah, this song, as the kids say, slaps.
Slaps is pretty literal in terms of, not literally slapping you in the face, but slapping the bass.
Yes.
And boy, you got percussion, drums, and bass.
Oh, and the synth is just riding all over this
Unbelievable. So let's go back in time to the beginnings of Cameo.
Yeah, Cameo is super interesting, and there is a big part that Canada played in their history and in forming of the name.
All right, I want to hear about this because that wasn't their original name, was it?
Well, it goes pretty far back. So I watched this interview with Larry Blackman, who's the lead singer, the front person of Cameo. And Cameo came together as basically there were two different touring groups that merged together to form Cameo. And there were 14 of them. And they originally called themselves New York City Players. And the one band was from the Midwest.
Yep.
Like from
Atlanta area, or at least south, right? They're in this. He used the term south. Now, of course, my geography is really bad, so I would just assume Midwest is south.
No.
It's south of here, isn't it?
Well, yeah, everything's south of here. We're in Canada. Yeah. But I think he said it was a group from Michigan.
Okay.
Which is not near Atlanta.
That's north of New York, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's west.
Okay. Well,
it's inland,
okay.
right?
All right.
Okay. And then there's the group from New York. And they toured around, and they actually spent a lot of time, he said, in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
That's insane.
Yeah. So they have this band. They're called the New York City Players. They sign a record deal in 74. Then they changed their name to Players. However, there was a threat of legal action against them because the name Players was too close to the Ohio Players, which was a band on Mercury Records at the time. So they changed their name to Cameo, and Cameo was a brand of cigarettes that they saw, I believe, in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Oh, man. And it does sound like a specific brand to maybe Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Cameo before.
Well, it was the 70s. I really wasn't up on my cigarettes at the time because I wasn't born yet, mostly, but yeah.
Or smoking.
Or smoking, no. So that's basically how Cameo came together.
And so you have 14.
Yes.
And their breakthrough song, or the song that got them signed, was like a disco song that they covered. Someone gave them the song.
Yeah.
I have it here. It's called Find My Way, and it's very, very disco.
Yes.
But then all of the other stuff they released on that first album is very much funk, and within that sort of zone of what would be other funk bands of that time.
They drew a lot of comparisons to the Parliament Funkadelic, like George Clinton and that group.
Yes.
And Larry Blackman, like his signature sound, that guttural sound that he sings, is basically he's trying to resemble Sly from Sly and the Family Stone.
Yes, there you go. Yes, exactly. And so they had a song called Rigor Mortis.
Yeah, from the album Cardiac Arrest.
Yeah, and Heavy D and the Boys, I think, sampled it later.
Yeah.
A lot of people sample Cameo.
Well, I'm on the site whosampled.com, and this song has been sampled on 28 different songs.
Is this Word Up?
Word Up, yes.
Wow. So they have made good coin, but I also learned this, that they didn't start making money until the 90s. Because originally, you owe the record company, right? You record an album, you're in debt. You record an album. Now, they recorded like 12 albums over, I don't know, 12 years maybe? Like they were doing an album a year.
Yeah.
And so last week, Frank, I took the time to listen to every single Cameo album.
Oh, really?
Up until Word Up.
Okay.
So I could actually follow the flow of how their music was changing. And they're a fascinating band because I didn't know anything about their early stuff. And it is very interesting, listenable, and long, long songs. So it had me thinking about prog rock, but funk rock.
Yeah.
You know? And then you have the 80s and the sound starts to shift, but it doesn't get the cheesy shift that a lot of them ran into. Like the funk bands died out. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's a backlash against disco, but they're already out of that. But they have this rock sound that permeates it. And so it lent itself really well to taking in new wave elements, but also making something new and still very funky.
Yeah, and also starting to infuse the R&B sound that's at the time. And this song, it speaks out against basically rap music.
Oh, yeah.
But they are using a lot of those R&B elements, R&B and hip-hop elements in these songs. And just going back, I owe Cameo an apology, right? Because they have so many great songs, but I always chalk them up, like you said, as a one-hit wonder, as this like parody band, basically.
Right. Well, Frank, there's a reason we call this Guilt-Free Pleasures. We are going to take that shame away.
Yeah.
And we're going to release joy into the atmosphere.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, didn't that sound pretty grand? We've never made a trailer for the podcast, but I feel like I could use that.
Let's workshop that a bit, maybe.
Okay.
It was pretty grand.
So they go from 14 to 3.
Yeah.
Now, I'm guessing they couldn't call their album and then there were 3 because it was already taken by another band.
Oh my goodness, we're talking Genesis again, aren't we?
They connect to everything, Frank. So there's 3 on the cover, but according to Larry Blackman, it was sort of a move to just get a focus there. Because if you look at the personnel, it's still a massive band. There's the 3 members. He's the only one playing instruments in the personnel for the actual band. So if you look at Word Up, the album, bring it up there and then take a look at personnel.
As I'm looking that up, on their Wikipedia page, there are 6 current members of the band, but there are 32 former members or past members of the band.
This is incredible.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So personnel Cameo, it's Larry Blackman, Tommy Jenkins, and Nathan Lieutenant. And Larry Blackman plays the instruments.
Right. And so his instruments are, what is it there? Drums, percussion, bass.
Yeah.
And think about this song. What are you hearing the most?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the drums and the bass.
Now, Tommy Jenkins is one of the principal songwriters for this. I don't want to take that away from him.
No.
I think this actually might have been his idea. Mm-hmm. And the band's idea was to put Larry Blackman up in front because he has such a personality to his face and his style. But he said he would rather be behind the kit, making sure the sound is just right.
Yeah.
But I would say that too if I was, famous and never had to go back behind the kit again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who that's like, Frank?
Oh my goodness, Phil Collins.
You got that right. Oh my goodness, this is incredible. All right, don't worry. I'm going to pivot here, Frank. You ready? Okay, I got a question for you.
All right.
What does word up mean? And have you ever used it?
I'm sure that I've used the term word up, but I probably used it in jest.
Right.
Because I would probably never be confident enough to actually be cool enough to use it properly.
Right.
But word up it's an affirmation. It's like yeah, or you bet, or yeah,
that's right. That's right. It says you bet.
Yeah.
I'm like, have you ever used the term you bet? Have you ever felt cool enough to say, hey, yeah, you bet?
Yeah, I've used you bet.
I'm wondering if I've used word wrong. Like, used to say word as in yeah.
Well, a lot of the rap music and hip hop in the early 90s, like, word to your mother. And then
right.
I remember some of the cooler kids when I was in grade 9, grade 10, like they would make fun of saying word, and there's like word to Big Bird. Okay, it rhymes, so it must be cool, right?
I just love that you found the coolest possible song you could think of in the 90s. Word to your mother, Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
Well done, Frank. That's how cool we still are.
Oh, 100%, yes.
All right. Okay, so let's get to the writing of this song.
Yeah.
The song is almost a simulation of rap and hip hop elements, even though, as you said, there's some calling out of hip hop. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to tell if it's a character in the song or the actual writers, because Larry Blackman has been quoted in the past as saying some negative things about hip hop back then. But he also said that while he was writing it, he came up with this character he called Vicious.
Vicious, yeah.
And so Vicious is the one who's mad at these hip-hop DJs who play Mess With Your Mind love songs, which I never thought of hip-hop doing.
Yeah.
I don't feel that's a thing, unless I don't know what I'm talking about, which is certainly possible.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much the entire podcast is us not knowing 100% of what we're talking about.
No, but we're increasing our percentage every week.
Yeah. Word to Big Bird.
So regardless of what the song is about, we're going to figure that out, of course,
Yeah.
as we work through it. It was a hit.
Yes.
I feel it should have been a way bigger hit, and I feel that part of the reason is MTV wasn't ready to embrace black music still at that point. I feel if it came out today, and I feel it's still relevant today, it would be huge.
Yes.
And it should be.
Yeah, because it went to number 1 on the Billboard R&B charts.
Yep.
And made it to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts.
Right. And so much of that has to do with the amount of airplay at other radio stations. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling this was huge in certain markets like New York.
Yeah,
LA,
I get that feeling too, yeah.
Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay.
Yeah, that's what I think. And so there is a old category we used to have on our podcast called Would Chris Newkirk Like This Song?
Oh, Chris Newkirk loves this song. I can tell you. I don't know for certain, but I know for certain that he loves this song.
And Chris Newkirk, our friend, of course, and for those who haven't worked through all 170 of our episodes, Chris Newkirk is our good friend from New York who is actually one of our spiritual sponsors for the podcast, and he's in a band called the Julies. And when they were deciding on a song for their Def Leppard podcast they did with us, the Cameo song was the other one they were trying to do and
bring to the table.
Yeah, and they're going to be very upset to hear we didn't bring them in on this.
They can be upset.
Yeah. Before we jump into the song, in a lot of interviews with Cameo, Larry Blackman will talk about how they don't do sampling. So hip hop today, of course, relies a lot on the samples of songs from the 70s. Now, Cameo, being a band from the 70s, lays down their own beats, so to speak.
Yeah.
However, he neglects to mention, though, he actually used the sample in this song, and he used it in the previous single from the other album, Single Life, the song Single Life.
Yeah.
And you have that in front of you there, the sample. It's from
Johnson Crew, and the song's Space Cowboy. Oh, okay. Or what do you have?
It's Ennio Morricone, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh.
Well, why don't we listen to the opening beats?
Okay.
Wow, Frank, we are already at a intense disagreement here, although having listened to both of those tracks there, it certainly does sound like the Johnson Crew.
Yeah.
But I feel like both of them are using Ennio Morricone's.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the
yeah.
ugly. Yeah. I think it's the same basic notes, but played on a different instrument.
Right.
That's what the Johnson Crew does.
Right. I feel like there's a connection to Regulators. You know, Young Guns.
Yeah.
Good, Bad, Ugly. Two very similar films in terms of their status as iconic American film.
The song is Space Cowboy, so it's an homage to the good, the bad, the ugly.
right.
It's just spacey cowboys instead of, regular cowboys.
Right. You bet, Frank.
Word to Big Bird.
All right, let's jump into this song.
Yeah, so Tommy Jenkins from the group said that after they recorded the song, and they were on Polygram at the time, they didn't want to release it until there was an exec from London who said, if you don't release this song, you're crazy. And then basically they immediately released it.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine if you're out on the dance floor and you hear this has got to bring people out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Cameo. They're all about the dance floor. They love dancing.
Yeah. And this song's all about dancing.
Yeah, which is why I think we love it so much.
Yeah. So the opening is incredible, right? There's not a lot to say other than bass, drums, synth, everything's crashing in, and it's making you move.
Is that bass or is that guitar at the, I think it's bass, but I also think it's guitar at
Oh
the
yeah,
same
no,
time.
it's all in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to guess who's playing on it because when I look at the album, there's so many names. But Pat Buchanan shows up as guitarist.
Yeah.
And I know he's kind of a famous Nashville session musician, but also known for his work with Cameo.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel that that's going on in there. And then the big question, I guess, is it a synth bass or bass?
I think it's a bass.
Yeah. I imagine that would have been the thing for them.
Yeah.
All right. Verse 1, Frank?
Yeah.
It's tough not to read this with a nasally voice. And I don't mean nasally in any sort of derogatory term. It's just...
But in Larry Blackman's voice.
Yeah.
Because it's so distinct the way that he sings.
So instead of saying, yo, pretty ladies around the world, I'm just going to go English teacher voice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yo, pretty ladies around the world, got a weird thing to show you. So tell all the boys and girls. When I read it with the English teacher voice, I feel like I'm about to get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Tell your brother, your sister, and mama too, because they're about to go down, and you'll know just what to do.
Okay. I know we said we're not going to do the voice, but it's so hard not to read this next part without... Wave your hands in the air like you don't care.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. Yeah,
That
totally
is my favorite lyric right there.
Yeah. Glide by the people, and it's capitalized P for people on my lyrics. Is it on
Okay.
yours? Still,
No.
as they start to look and stare. Okay, well, I mean, it's clear just reading this out. The weird thing to show them isn't about the cod piece. We'll get to that later in the video, but it's a dance move.
Yeah.
Right? Throw your hands in the air like you don't care, which is very hip hop.
Yes.
Like the ultimate hip hop line.
I
right?
think they co-opted that.
Oh, yeah, that's the
for
MC
this.
thing.
Yeah.
Do you dance? Do your dance. Quick, mama. Come on, baby. Tell me what's the word. Ah.
Y'all pretty ladies around the world got a weird thing to show you. So tell all the boys and girls, tell your brother, your sister, and your mama too, 'cause we're about to throw down, and you know just what to do. Wave your hands in the air like you don't care. Glide by the people as they stop to look and stare. Do your dance, do your dance, do your dance. Quick, mama, come on, baby, tell me what's the word. A word.
Not a whole lot to say. It's a story.
Yeah.
It's a story about dance.
It is. It's going to get interesting as we go, but
Yes.
originally it's just the story of a dance.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
an important dance.
Yeah. You just need to throw your hands in the air like you don't care. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what people think when you glide by them.
That's right. And there's a word you have to say.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the word is actually a phrase. It's word up.
Yes.
All right. Well, we nailed that analysis. Let's go to chorus.
Yeah.
Ah, word up. Everybody say when you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the code word. No matter where you say it, you'll know that you'll be heard.
Now word up. Everybody say, when you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the code word. No matter where you say it, you'll know that you'll be heard. Now all you
I kind of like that because it takes that phrase or that word, like, yeah, word up. It commands respect.
And on top of this, it also welcomes the listener in. You and I being the not so cool guys in our heads.
Yeah.
Although people keep telling us we're really cool, right?
Yeah, my mom says I'm cool all the time.
Yeah. We got to believe it at some point, Frank,
Yeah.
because Cameo also says, hey, everybody. And we are everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
We're everybody people, Frank. And I like the idea that when you yell word up, everyone is going to do that hand dance thing.
Yes, exactly, right?
And if you've seen the video, you know what that hand dance is.
Yeah.
All right. So things get interesting here, don't they?
Yeah.
Because we got some complications in the story.
Here comes the conflict.
Yeah. And it feels very hip hop rap.
Yes.
Because it's a bit of a diss track here.
Yeah, but it's not a diss track against one person. It's a diss track against the burgeoning hip hop and rap industry.
Right. And you got to be firing those guns out there. Or in this guy's case, Larry's got the cod piece.
Yeah.
And he's pointing it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to talk about this cod piece. It's just everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, in the video. Yeah.
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 And it's part of the sort of branding of the band since Word Up. It's all
Yeah,
about
because we were trying to figure out where did it make its first sort of appearance, but it was in this video, and we'll talk more about the video, but that red cod piece is just,
I can hear it in this song.
it's like a painting where the eyes follow you wherever you are in the room.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. Here's the line. Now, all you sucker DJs who think you're fly, there's got to be a reason, and we know the reason why. And you try to put on those airs and act real cool, but you got to realize that you're acting like fools. What a diss.
Yeah.
If there's music, we can use it. We need to dance. We don't have that time for psychological romance. No romance, no romance, no romance for me, mama. Come on, baby. Tell me what's the word. Ah, word up.
all you sucker DJs who think you're fly, there's got to be a reason, and we know the reason why you try to put on those airs and act real cool, but you got to realize that you're acting like fools. Give us music, we can use it, we need to dance. We don't have that time for psychological romance. No romance, no romance, no romance for me, mama. Come on, baby, tell me what's the word, a word up.
I like that verse because in the opening line of it, now all you sucker DJs, it's those gang vocals.
Yeah.
Sucker DJs. And they're just taking that element of rap and hip hop and using it against them.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
And the idea that the DJs are the enemy, not anybody else, but you're doing psychological romance, which
Yeah.
there's not romance in that hip hop. Am I wrong?
I was trying to figure it out, like what that actually means. What do you mean psychological romance?
Do you think he's going after James Ingram?
I don't.
Because that's psychological romance.
Which song?
I don't have the heart to hurt you.
Well, that came out way later.
Oh.
That came out in '89, I think.
Okay. What hip hop song is about psychological romance? I'm thinking of, I don't know, any of those early rap songs or hip hop songs. I don't know of any that are about romance. I feel he's creating a straw man here, Frank. The straw man DJ. A straw DJ, if you will.
On the song facts page, it references this character Vicious that Larry Blackman created for the song, taking out his frustrations on rappers who delve into psychodrama. They should be creating music you can dance to. I'm not sure where the psychological romance comes in, but this song is just about, just give us music we can dance to. 'Cause
Right.
that's all we think people should be doing is dancing.
And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And even though he may be perhaps fighting against the shadows, that's still okay.
Yeah.
Word up, man.
Word up.
And so we get back to the chorus. We get the everybody say when you hear the call, you got to get it underway. And then we get to that musical break or interlude. And holy cow, there's some great things going on.
Oh, it's unbelievable. this also shows how uncool I am. Dial L for low. Yeah, what does that mean?
I was trying to figure that out. Now, low as in maybe they're doing that dance where you go underneath the
Like
pole?
a limbo?
Yeah.
Or is it dial L for lows, like as in getting down?
Yeah.
Is that it?
So when you get down to dance, are you literally getting down? Like you're going to dance down, like chicken dance?
Well, there's that Flow Rider
Twist?
song called Low. Remember that
Right.
from like the
Low,
early 2000s?
low. Yeah, every
yeah.
school dance I've been at.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flow Ride. It took me a while to realize it was Florida.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, it's not Flow Ride, isn't it? It is. It's Florida. I'm not cool, Frank.
Yeah, neither am I. I think
Okay.
it's Flow Rider. I think that's what he goes by,
Right.
but yeah, it's just Florida.
He's from Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Word up. I can't even say word up right. Oh man. Okay. So dial L for low. I have a question mark there too. Come on, all you people, say, and then we do the spelling.
Yeah.
Now this is going to be important because Reading Rainbow did a lot of spelling too, didn't it, Frank?
That's true.
Yeah.
And Reading Rainbow shows up in the video.
That's right. WORD up. And they do this 4 times. 5 times. 6 times in a row. But we got drums in between. We got lots going on there. And I feel like this is where this song becomes really unhinged. We can't really do a lot with the lyrics because he's playing with language.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it scatting because it's funk, but you got the la-las, the woo-woos. He's in charge of the crowd and the music. And he's in the studio pulling this off without a crowd in front of him.
Yeah.
So I sent you a video from Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted you to watch it was because it looked like they weren't lip syncing, which is a usual Top of the Pops.
Yes.
At least part of it was real. And his voice sounded so similar that I couldn't tell if it was a recording or not. But because these guys are touring endlessly, and he says it's all about the work. He literally says, not the codpiece. I don't even want to wear that I have to.
It's become part of his persona.
Yeah, that's right. He just is all about the work.
Yeah. It's the codpiece and the high top fade and that mustache. That's basically Larry Blackman.
It's a crazy, amazing look that he's got to stick with.
Yeah.
And he still looks the same.
Oh, I know, right?
Word up, word up. Everybody say, when you hear the call, you've got to get it underway.
All right, Frank. So we should talk about the video. I mean, we'll get to more of the sounds of this. The sounds of this is incredible.
Yeah.
And I believe as we move on here, we'll get to more of that.
There's so much going on, and there's so much that I don't understand about funk music, but I know that I like funk music.
Yeah. And I know I got to go back to some of the 70s funk.
Yes.
I started looking up bands that influenced Cameo.
Yeah.
And I never heard of them, but I liked what I heard.
Yes, exactly. Right?
Musicianship's incredible.
It's unbelievable. And there's so many of them. And to bring that all together and make this massive sort of orchestra of this amazing music, I don't get it, but I love it.
Yeah. And so Larry Blackman was in Juilliard while
really?
they were like a thing. And so he was doing Juilliard at nights and working, selling clothes during the day.
Oh, really?
He had a like a scholarship because his parents didn't make enough money. And so Juilliard gave him a scholarship. So he's there. And he says most people don't ever graduate from there. You're there looking for your break.
Yeah.
And I guess when he first heard a Cameo single on the radio while he was fitting somebody
Yeah.
for clothes, he told one of the other workers, hey, could you take over? I just got to go somewhere. So he goes and listens to it in a room where the radio's playing.
Yeah.
And then immediately leaves his job. That's it.
It's like, I'm on the radio.
Yeah,
I'm famous
done.
now. Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know what? It did work out for him.
Yeah.
Because he worked, though. I mean,
Yeah.
this song is a product of 12 years of nonstop touring,
Yeah.
recording, and working.
Their first album was recorded in 74, so this is 86. But this is their 13th album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's bonkers.
Yeah. They are hard workers, and there is no fluke, and they're not a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
This is incredible because they're also not washed up.
Yeah.
They're fresh, and they're going with the times. And unlike other artists of that era, he said record companies never gave him trouble.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
He would just keep moving. They do their thing, and they stayed out of their way.
Yeah. One of the things in one of the interviews that I listened to was he was talking about the early days before they got a record deal, when they were just these two touring bands, and how they're putting in the work, and they were just touring constantly. He said it was 2 years. They'd be on the road for 2 years solid. And some of the guys, he said, from the band from the Midwest, that was really difficult for them.
Right.
Because, you know, when you're in New York, you're just hustling. You know, when you're in Michigan, not that you're not hustling, but it's a different lifestyle.
Right.
It's a different sort of way of looking at it and doing things. But this is a band that put in the work and did the hustle.
I feel like you could compare him with Bill and Frank from Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures.
Exactly. We put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much so that our real everyday jobs are in jeopardy.
Yeah, and I'm always ready to walk off the job.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure they're ready to walk me out the door too. All right, let's hit up this video. We open with LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
Mr. Let's give him a couple names. Mr. Guy from Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
But also, more importantly, at the time, he was in Roots.
Well, Roots was in the 70s.
Oh, was it?
That was in 77.
Oh,
so
okay.
he played Kunta Kinte
Yeah.
there. But he was about to become Geordie LaForge on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah, so 1987. So this is only, I guess
It's a year away.
before.
Yeah.
And he's
Well, he's a detective.
a detective. He's not happy with Cameo.
No. He looks so young, too.
He does. Like, I don't know how he made it through the ranks, because he should be walking the beat.
Yeah, you would think so.
But maybe he just is like me. You know, I look super young.
Yeah.
Except for the white patch in my beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's asking basically the band to come out, put their hands in the air.
Yeah. Not like they don't care.
Yeah.
Because he cares.
Yes.
And I think the issue is he represents, I know you want me to say a different word there.
You were
I'm
so
sorry.
close.
I was so close. But I feel he represents the sort of Tipper Gore of the era, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the whole thing is these guys are dangerous.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you see Larry Blackman. I don't know where he is. It looks like he might be in a change room.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's getting ready for a big sport or he's trapped inside some place. It's all dark.
Yeah.
And he looks up like he needs to get going. And then one of the other guys in the band is in the kitchen. And then someone's with the lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got lots of things going on here. And it seems kind of dangerous, even though they're not doing anything bad.
No, they just want to dance.
Do you notice I quoted 2 Michael Jackson albums there?
Yes.
Also, Larry Blackman claims that Michael Jackson showed up in disguise to a Cameo gig.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And his sister, I think it was LaToya, went in to talk to everybody, but he hid in another room. And he said that if you look at the difference from Thriller to Bad, it's Michael Jackson trying to dress like Cameo.
Oh.
Might be true.
There could be
There could be something to
something
that.
there, yeah.
Anyways, do they come out or do the cops just suddenly start to do the hot cop dance?
No, they start coming out of like these different rooms because there's the band members coming out of the rooms. But there are scenes where it looks like they're behind bars, but there's also scenes where they are outside and there's a bunch of cars around.
Right.
There's scenes where it looks like they're on a catwalk in a warehouse of sorts or a factory.
Blackman's on a motorcycle at one point.
Yeah, it's kind of almost dystopian.
Yeah,
Which explains the cod piece.
Right. It reminds me of a movie we talked about.
On the Dan Hartman episode. Yes. Streets of Fire?
Exactly.
Yes.
It has some feels there.
Yeah.
Is this steampunk, Frank?
There's a lot of steam going on.
Yeah, there's steam. So there's steam. This is me, steam funk.
Yeah, steam funk.
Oh,
yes.
well, there we go.
I think we just invented a new genre.
I think I'm ready to walk off my job, Frank.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Yeah. Word up.
You betcha, Frank.
You betcha.
That'll be our song. You betcha.
You betcha. But also in the video, in the second verse, and this is where they take that direct shot at the R&B and hip hop industry. It looks like they're in New York. So there's one of the bridges in the background. And it has what I think is a bunch of artists that look similar to what Run DMC looked like at the time. And
Right,
they're
right.
sitting there with their arms crossed and just looking tough.
Yeah.
And this was the shot at R&B or
Right.
hip hop at the time.
And maybe there's something to it. I mean, it's also kind of unfair. I'm trying to think through this. Like, if you're Larry Blackman, you're working a bunch of different jobs. You're going to Juilliard. So
Yeah.
you have skills.
Yeah.
Right? And so early hip hop, of course, is all about going through those records, finding music because you weren't able to learn how to play music, but you train your ear and you find those beats and you play them.
Yeah.
And so when you have a funk band who says, listen, we make those beats. And now I'm going to show you how I can rap. It is kind of a great flex because Word Up is legit.
Yeah.
And it's not like a lot of the phony rap that you ended up seeing, maybe even some Stevie Wonder albums where you're like, ooh, Stevie, you're a genius, but you're no rapper.
You shouldn't be doing this,
Or when Prince does rap.
Yeah.
That's very bad.
Or when the Bare Naked Ladies do rap.
We still need to decide on a Bare Naked Ladies song because I love the Bare Naked Ladies, but I also hate aspects of them. And so do we do 1 week or do we go with the heart's truth?
Oh, something from Gordon.
Yeah, I think we need to hear from the listeners.
I think so too.
Okay. So LeVar Burton ends up in the club to arrest him.
Yeah.
And does actually get him in handcuffs.
Yes.
But then something happens. It feels like The Illusionist.
Oh wait, does Larry Blackman escape?
He does.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But then when the song is going through that outro portion, one of the police officers that's with LeVar Burton turns out he's just a hot cop.
Yeah.
And he strips off his shirt and everything and just dances away. And the man could dance.
Oh my goodness. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
He's handcuffed, Larry Blackman, and suddenly he's now handcuffed to one of the other dancers. And she looks at him. And then he gives this strange look.
That's right. Yeah. And
I thought he was going to break out dancing, but he kind of gives this, you got me.
It's like, word up, you got me.
Yeah. And then they're walking away.
Yeah.
And then Larry Blackman gives a push to one of the three, and he ends up falling out of the frame.
Yeah.
It's great. Puts his arm around the other guy.
Yeah.
And they're off into the dark world that the sun has come up, but it's still cloudy and gray. And
the video is so good. It's so 86, but it's really, really good.
It needs to be seen more often.
I think so too.
Luckily, it will be in our show notes.
That's right.
All right, Frank, you ready for some categories?
Yes.
I emailed a friend of the podcast and a past guest who we'll have to have back on again, Mike Balsam.
Oh, okay.
Because, he's a wedding DJ extraordinaire.
Yes.
I asked him, would Word Up have been used a lot when you were DJing in the late 80s? What do you think he said?
Yes.
And he said, oh, absolutely. And he said he still has a copy of the 12-inch single.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, beauty.
Yeah. Now, I'm wondering, where would you put this in the dance? So you don't want to put it on too early.
No.
Because I feel when this came out, the grandparents aren't going to be into it, right?
No.
I feel you got to put this on like a midway point where you need
this is second half.
Yeah, and you need to bring the young people out. And when those opening beats hit, they're all leaving their conversations.
Usually you start off with the slow dances, then you get your dance floor fillers. But then there's usually another section of some slow dances.
Yeah.
Second song after the slow dances.
Exactly. And
you have people out on the dance floor, but this keeps people on the dance floor.
So you put maybe Dancing on the Ceiling.
Yeah.
I hate that song.
Do you?
I think I do.
Oh.
Or
maybe play All Night Long.
Yeah, no, that's a great song.
Yeah.
But Word Up is darker and demands stronger, heavier dancing.
Yeah.
All Night Long is just easy going. You got everyone out there, but then bum, 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 bum. Like, oh my goodness, this is a call to arms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, taking your arms and waving them in the air like
you don't care.
Exactly. All right, we haven't done that category for a while.
No.
All right. Okay, next category I have for you. What time of year do you think this song plays best?
Ooh, I'm going to say it's in early fall.
Yeah, I think so. I think even Halloween, because this video scares me.
It does have a menacing sound to it.
Yeah, there's menace. There's menace through this song.
But it's danceable menace.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I just keep thinking Dennis the Menace. Yeah. Poor Mr. Wilson.
Oh, those were so terrible, those comics.
He was vicious. Vicious little kid.
Well, yeah, he was a terrible individual.
All right, here's one for you. Imagine if we put exclamation marks on any sort of song that's come out in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So I have some for you. I feel it changes the nature of the song.
Yeah.
My heart will go on.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like anyone's dying on the Titanic.
No, exactly. That's a very distinct, this is a proclamation. My heart will go on.
Yeah, that's right. Where she's mad at Jack.
Yeah.
And she should have let him on the raft.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it was a door, right? Like,
oh, yeah. Okay, what if our national anthem had an exclamation mark at the end?
Oh, Canada!
Yeah, where it's more like Canada came out to surprise you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little more fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, our anthem's a little bit like sad sounding, isn't it?
Yeah. What if Tears Are Not Enough had an exclamation mark at the end? it'd make you want to give money right away
I think
to the
so,
cause.
yeah.
There's my big category. I didn't even let you answer. Do you want to do one, Frank?
A song that would like
yeah, exclamation mark.
oh,
Exclamatize it, Frank.
exclamatize it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Well, yeah, there's Michael Bolton. It sounds a lot more angry when you put an exclamation point
Right.
on how am I supposed to live without you?
Right.
Because you're just basically screaming at it.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to live without you?
Right. And so now he seems like a dangerous person.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next one, Frank. It's not really a category. It's more like trivia.
Okay.
Who else has done this song? And this is your lucky day.
Oh, I
you
know.
Son of a gun.
Because I know that Mel B did a version.
She's called Melanie G originally, and then they changed it to Mel B. Like, this
Oh.
is really early into it.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, wow.
Not that I don't know why that's interesting to me, but I need to have something for trivia.
Yeah, yeah.
Romance, I know romance for me. Mama, come on, baby, tell me what's the word. Everybody say, when you hear that call, you've got to get it underway. A word up. It's the code word. No matter where you say it, you know that you'll be heard. Word up.
All right, just break it to us, Frank.
I also know that Korn did a version of this.
Oh, man.
And Korn's version actually charted
Yeah,
on the Billboard Top 200.
because Mel G's version is not very good
Yeah.
because she's just trying to do the cameo thing.
Yeah, she sings kind of similar too. isn't it?
Similar.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the strength to it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can do what Larry Blackman's doing.
Yeah.
No one's going to be able to do it. But there's Korn and another band called Gun who both do something similar.
Yeah.
Korn, of course, is the most extreme version.
Yes.
But this is kind of new metal hard rock.
Yeah.
This works for it. I hate to say it because I don't want to talk about Korn. But shoot, this kind of works.
It kind of works, doesn't it? Yeah. It's kind of like when Limp Bizkit did Faith.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What's the word? Oh, word up. Everybody say, when you hear the call, you got to get it underway. Word up. It's the code word. No matter where you say it, you know that you'll be heard.
Part of this song, Bill, brings you the most joy?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, for me, it's no romance, no romance. I love that. Like, oh, this is so great. And I
you-
would have loved it as a teenager. Like, yeah, no romance, because I have no romance.
I wonder how much of that influenced maybe Lady Gaga's Bad Romance.
There's a connection there.
Is there?
No, I don't
think-
think
oh,
so, because
okay.
she's bad romance. And he's like, no romance.
But similar in Lady Gaga's like rah rah rah,
Yeah,
rah.
very
like
good.
there's kind of some similarities vocally there, right?
I feel like there's a mashup that needs to happen where
think
she's
so, too.
caught in a bad no romance.
Yeah.
I know Hollaback Girl and Board Up was meshed together,
Yes.
but there's more mashups. Or they don't call them mashups. What do they call them? Mashups.
Mashups, yeah.
The monster mashups.
Yes.
You betcha.
You betcha.
And you know, I put a cha at the end.
Well, yeah.
It
so-
feels more Shania Twain. Next category, Frank. Mixtape.
Okay. My mixtape's okay. I want to hear yours first.
Mine's incredible.
Okay.
It's also never ending.
Should I go with my mixtape first? Because if yours is incredible, I want to end on a better note.
Yeah, you should go first.
Okay. My mixtape is songs that are all about music.
Oh, okay.
Because this is kind of a call out against rap and hip hop, but it's
Right.
all about dancing.
Right.
I'm going to start with Where It's At by Beck.
Is that about music?
Yeah.
I
Got
thought
two
it was about a-
turntables and a microphone.
Oh, okay. That's where it's at.
Yeah. ROCK in the USA by John Mellencamp.
Yeah, very good.
I Can't Live Without My Radio by LL Cool J.
Okay. Bringing in the hip hop.
Bringing in the hip hop, a little more hip hop with Hip Hop Hooray by Naughty by Nature.
That's a good tune.
And I am closing it all off with Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy by the Andrews
Oh,
Sisters.
finally. I was kind of expecting the great freestyle, Shannon. Let the
Oh,
music play.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but the Andrews Sisters, the original
Yes.
freestyle. Okay. All right. So mine connects to our opener.
Okay.
You know when I said, can you think of songs that have punctuation in it?
Okay. So you found songs with punctuation.
Oh my goodness. So I only chose songs that have exclamation points.
Okay.
And then I got in trouble because I couldn't decide what to keep in there.
Okay.
So I'm going to do my best here. The most obvious and effective one, besides Word Up, I feel Word Up does it the best,
Yeah.
is Help!
Oh,
Beatles.
Yep.
And then ABBA's song that Madonna used, Gimme, Gimme, Gimme!
Oh, yeah.
Exclamation mark, A Man After Midnight. Doo-doo-doo. I love it. And then that was 3 exclamation points, which is incredible. Not in a row. Man, I feel like a woman.
All right.
Shania Twain. And then I go with a band, duo, you could say, who come out of the same city that Cameo was located in the 80s. Because Cameo moved to Atlanta.
Bay?
They moved to Atlanta in
Oh.
the 80s. That's where they were kind of centered.
Yeah.
Outcast.
Outcast. And there are members from Cameo that,
Play with Outcast.
yes.
And it's Hey Ya.
Yeah.
And then next, I can't resist putting this in, and I don't like the song. Whoomp. There
There it is. Tag team.
Yeah.
Back again.
I knew you're holding back.
Yes.
Next up is Stand by Sly and the Family Stone. And then I go crazy, Frank. I'm sorry, but Dig Lazarus Dig has 3 exclamation points. That's Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds.
Oh, okay.
It fits well with Word Up. It has
Gotcha.
the same feel. It has a crazy New York feel. Freedom, 90.
Oh,
George Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, this isn't going to end, Frank. Turn, turn, turn. The Birds.
The Birds.
Stop. In the Name of Love by the Supremes. Get him back. Olivia Rodrigo. Hornets, Hornets. The Hold Steady. I'm going to stop there, Frank, because you clearly are not listening anymore.
Nope. I gave up.
I was doing so well there.
Were you?
No, I didn't matter. I didn't mention Chop Suey by System of a Down.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
Then I'm not. Now I've stopped listening.
Okay, all right. Endless playlist. Okay. Frank, who would you recommend listen to this song?
Well, everyone.
That's a great answer. But I think I'm going to tell my students this week.
Yeah.
You got to listen to this.
Yeah.
If you care about things. I feel like people who are playing music as well to say, hey, you got to check this out.
Yeah.
It's legit.
I think so too. Yeah. And I was kind of reintroduced to the song because I remember hearing it in the 80s when it came out. But when I was in university, because it would play at all the retro nights.
Oh, okay.
When I was at the clubs, waving my hands in the air like I just didn't
yeah.
care. Also, in those moments, thinking about it as like a one-hit wonder, but also you kind of, when you stop and think about it, it's like, yeah, there's a lot going on. And musically, it's pretty tight.
It is. And so I would encourage listeners to kind of go back to some early Cameo.
Yeah, early Cameo and
even-
a lot of funk music.
Yeah. And just realize that you have people who have a deep, deep knowledge of music doing this stuff.
Yes. I think Larry Blackmon's the only original member still performing, but
Right.
they did a residency in Vegas in 2016. Like they're
Right.
still releasing music. They're
Yeah.
still doing stuff now.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And if you go online, you can see them celebrating the 35th anniversary, the 40th. We're almost at 40.
We're almost at 40. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And they still got it. He's
Yeah.
still playing it. He's still pretty good.
And he's still wearing the cod piece.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He says it's not that comfortable. I saw a interview on the Joan Rivers show from the time,
Yeah.
and she was talking about the history of the codpiece, and she claimed it's from the 6th century.
Okay.
That's where it started. But I read it was from the Middle Ages. But then I
Okay.
also realized I didn't know when the Middle Ages were.
It could be the 6th century.
Sure. So then what's before the Middle Ages?
Well, that'd be the early ages,
Oh, right.
the start ages, and then there's the end ages.
Right,
'cause
right.
That's in the middle.
We're in the end ages, right?
think so, yeah.
You got the top 10?
Yeah, it peaked at number 6 the week of November 22nd, 1986. We'll count down from 10.
Okay.
Number 10 was Love Will Conquer All by Lionel Richie.
Yep.
The Way It Is by Bruce Hornsby and the Range at number 9.
Incredible song.
Hip to Be Square, Huey Lewis and the News at 8.
That's us.
Then Next Time I Fall, Peter Cetera and Amy Grant.
Oh, what a tune and destined for greatness. Or it might have already been number 1. Okay, continue.
No, I hadn't. It was still climbing the charts.
Okay.
Word Up, Cameo, number 6. Take Me Home Tonight by Eddie Money.
Oh,
Number
baby.
5.
Yeah, okay.
You Give Love a Bad Name by Bovine Joni at number 4.
Okay. You're never going to stop using that.
Nope.
Okay.
True Blue, Madonna, number 3.
What a tune.
Amanda, a former number 1 by
Yes.
Boston.
And a future episode, I feel.
I think so too. And Human by the Human League was number 1.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty good year.
It's not a bad top 10.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
Take things real long.
We want to thank you for joining us for our celebration of Cameo. And I hope instead of saying to us, you bet, you say, word up.
And when you listen to our episodes and when you celebrate these fantastic songs with us, we hope that you'll be waving your hands in the air like you don't care.
Thank you for joining us for Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures. Word up.
Word up.